should not be released because he presented a risk of flight and a danger to the community if he were to be released. They also emphasize that the charges involve minors and that the total number of alleged victims is 13. In their case, in the Cook County, Illinois case, and in the federal case in Illinois. They also allege that in federal court in Chicago, the defendant is charged with obstruction of justice, which would include paying off witnesses and intimidating witnesses. They further allege that Mr. Kelly did numerous recordings of minors to deter them from cooperating with law enforcement. They further allege that Mr. Kelly committed a sexual assault while he was previously on bail in another case. The defense argued that if Mr. Kelly were released, that he would not flee, and that previously Mr. Kelly has appeared in court every time in prior cases. The court decided that Mr. Kelly, also known as the defendant, has been accused of a multitude of crimes and that they are not minor charges. The court indicated that he was concerned with allegations of sexual abuse of minors and child pornography. The judge also indicated that Mr. Kelly has a history of similar allegations dating back more than a decade, and that he has access to financial resources. The court further stated that the court was troubled by the issue of potential obstruction of justice in a prior case and potential witness tampering, and that Mr. Kelly may have committed offenses after prior cases. These are some of the reasons that the court decided and ordered Mr. Kelly to be detained in New York. I agree with the court's order, and that given the serious felony charges that he is facing in New York and elsewhere, that Mr. Kelly could present a danger to the community and a potential flight risk if he were released. I represent a majority of the Jane Doe alleged victims for whom charges have been filed in this criminal case, now pending in federal court in the Eastern District of New York. I have no doubt that victims of Mr. Kelly are relieved that Mr. Kelly will continue to be kept in custody pending the outcome of his trial. Finally, I feel that it is necessary to comment on Mr. Kelly's defense attorney's allegations in a letter filed by Douglas Anton, Mr. Kelly's defense attorney in the New York case. Mr. Anton refers to some of the alleged victims as, quote, groupies, end quote. This is both inaccurate and hurtful to many of the victims. They are not groupies. They are instead brave victims who are seeking justice. Some of them are victims of child sexual abuse by Mr. Kelly. Some are victims of child pornography by Mr. Kelly. Some are sex trafficking victims. All appear to have been targeted and in many cases isolated and exploited. In many cases, it appears that Mr. Kelly took advantage of his position as a wealthy, powerful, famous celebrity to prey on vulnerable minors who admired and who trusted him. I feel that it is wrong and completely inappropriate to victim blame and insult them in a court of law. Mr. Kelly is an accused sexual predator. He is not only accused in some of these cases of victimizing children by recording them in child pornography, but also in engaging in sex trafficking of them. It is time for Mr. Kelly's defense attorneys to stop traumatizing persons who are alleged to be victims of Mr. Kelly and start showing them the respect which is long overdue to them. We look forward to the victims having their day in court, and I can assure Mr. Kelly that no amount of name-calling or mischaracterization of who they are will deter my clients from testifying in this case in the court of law.